It's game time.
We're fucking back, people. Let's fucking go. That's right. I'm back. What's up, everybody? I'm not doing that twice, so you're getting what you're getting. How's it going, everybody? Oh, I am so pumped up to be back. It's been a busy couple weeks. I've had Vegas trip, and I had a small little mini road trip the next week, and we had Hawaii, got back, got sick. It's been a roller coaster. Team is not doing as well as I wanted, but that's all right. That's okay. I'm not too upset about it. I'm still in first place. Love that. But I'm 1-2 in the last 3 weeks, so time to step it up. It's time to step it up. Time to motivate the team any way I can. Oh boy. It's good to be back. Wow. What a crazy couple of weeks I've been wrong on a lot of things in terms of other people's teams. I haven't been paying attention as much. And so I think I've missed a few opportunities, which kind of sucks. But you live and learn. Keep moving forward. It's all about rolling with the punches, baby. Rolling with the punches. I missed. All right. Well, first, I dropped my stuff, but... Oh, I'm over here growing what I can of a beard. So, that's all this. But, yeah, let's look at some trends. I'm going to dive right into it. We've got... Amanda's over here making fun of me. I told her, okay, so intro. I want to do kind of a good intro. It's been a while, so I was trying to get out there on my intro, do something a little bit different than I haven't done. I don't want to just hit the gritty and that be it. I figured, there's a Mike Tyson and Jake Paul was on recently, so I got Amanda's bodybuilding thing. I told her I want to do it with a shirt just because I feel like I look like I'm about to go in for porno, but she said
it's funnier without the shirt. I think we should take a...
What do you mean?
A bet.
A bet?
Wait, is that... Who agrees it's better without the shirt?
Oh. I don't know. I guess you guys let Amanda know.
Let us know.
But yeah, I just want to do a nice intro. But I'm gonna dive right into it. We got some trends we got to look at. We got a few things that have been going on. Some teams absolutely falling off. Eddie has 7 straight losses. Man, if there's one thing I was definitely wrong about this year, it was Eddie's team. I think Eddie's team is good. I think it's a year early though. Honestly, all right, we're gonna dive into looking at Eddie's team first. I was looking at Nate's team here, and I'm a little rusty because I haven't done this in a little while, and I'm also not feeling the best. So, but I mean, look at this team. This team is good, but I think it's a year early. I think Ladd McConkey, Tank Dell's coming off an injury this last year. But next year, I think he's going to be a really good asset. Ladd McConkey is kind of turning into the one there. You got 2 stud running backs. Marvin Harrison, I think, is going to be an absolute stud, but I don't think this year. Rookie wide receivers have made a little bit of an impact, but not like they have in the past years. And Patrick Mahomes, him losing a bunch of weapons has really hurt him. But 7 straight is tough. And on the opposite side, you have Whitney. Whitney, who's won 6 straight. I mean, look at and the thing about Whitney's team is it's getting stronger. She's got Pacheco coming back. He's scheduled to return. She's got Puka Nacua that's come back, and he scored more than 1.6, didn't he? Yeah, I do have. Yeah, 21. Why is this saying 1.6? Oh, this was the. Oh, that's nice. Well, of course, it recapped when I played her. Apparently this is a week 9. I don't know why it doesn't show this last week, but um, yeah, he absolutely went off. You got Zay Flower, who's kind of coming into his own, becoming the established number one. Bijan, who's really turning it up. This team is actually kind of scary. James Conner, Terry McBride. She had a really good week with a couple on bye, and Pacheco returning. Although I don't think he's going to get implemented right away, but it's still scary to think that this team that has won 6 straight is only going to get stronger as the last few weeks of the regular season continue. Yeah, I mean, you've got one team on one side who's fallen off, and then you got Whitney's team who's just really coming on. But at some point, you got to lose. And I think 6 straight wins is probably the most that anyone's done this year. That's the longest streak that's happened this season. So good job, Whitney. Another team to highlight who's been really turning on, Mr. Sloppy Poppy, and another one that I'm completely wrong on. I was like, there's no chance Eric's making playoffs. Freaking the guy is now in. If the season was to end right now, he would be in playoff. He would be in the playoff race. He would be in as last seed, but he'd still be in. And this team, who's actually getting better as the season goes on, Chase Brown is really kind of coming to his own. I wonder how Khalil Herbert, if he will dive into any of his touches. I don't think so, but it's a possibility. I said, okay, this one I was right about. Nick Chubb. Guy obviously is not, he's just not the same. You can't recover like you can, like he could back in the day, back when he first got into the league. Unfortunately, I think Nick Chubb's career is pretty much done, which is sad. I like the guy. Guy's from Georgia. My great grandpa was a Georgia fan. Love the guy, but unfortunately, it is what it is. And then Washington is kind of they've had a couple rough matchups, so I think that's part of it. But they've kind of cooled down a little bit, so Terry McLaurin has not been as good. But still, this is Garrett Wilson didn't have a very good week, but I think the right pieces are here. It's just them executing and plugging in the right people during the right week. It will be super important for Eric to kind of continue. But he's 5-2 in the last 7 weeks. So you've got teams that have started off slow, like Whitney's and Eric's, who have really come on and kind of getting down to this home stretch. We'll see if it can kind of continue. I wanted to highlight something on everybody's everybody, and another big surprise. Well, you know what? We'll go to the disappointments. I'm sorry, Paul, but I was wrong on this team. I actually have a power rankings here that I had in week 5. One, I have Dre Campbell, which I don't think is wrong. I have 2 I have me as 2, which I still don't think that's wrong. 3 and 4, I have Paul and Eddie. 3 and 4 is now 9 and 10. And unfortunately, this team just has not executed. And I think this may be a product of relying too much on the 49ers. You had Jordan Mason. I see you dropped him. He did really good for the first 4 weeks. But beyond that, he really hasn't done too much. And after the first 4 weeks, even though he was the running back 1, and that you're on top of relying on a couple other San Francisco 49er players, San Francisco has just not been the same team. And you got an older team who lost in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's my cardinal rule number 1: never, unless it's the Patriots, Tom Brady Patriots, which I haven't seen a team other than them bounce back from losing a Super Bowl and still being good the next year. It's the Super Bowl hangover, And I think that's what's happening here. San Francisco is just not as good of a team, and you were relying on them a little too much. And then Aaron Jones, great guy and great player, but he battles through injuries, and I think it shows in his production. And I have him in a keeper league. I traded him away because I just couldn't stand. And yeah, he's putting up decent numbers, but for Aaron Jones, like you're wanting these 20, 15, 17, 19. I mean, he only had 4 weeks where he's over 11 points. Other than that, it's just mediocre, or he's too banged up where he doesn't have enough volume. I mean, unfortunately, this is just a team that's just not going to make the playoffs. And I think that's the reality of it. And there's statistically still a chance, but chances are it's not going to happen. This one and Eddie's, I believe those are two teams that are now out of the playoff race. They are not going to make the playoffs. Like I said, there's a statistical chance that they can, but it's just, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening at all. There'd have to be a lot of really right things, like perfect things to line up in order for either Paul or Eddie to make playoffs. But bottom line is I'm bringing that toilet bowl with me this next year, and someone else is taking it. And I guess now it's a battle of who is last. And I really didn't prepare on who I thought would be last, but let me take a look. I'm going to, on the fly. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm still battling a cold or whatever the hell this is. So I'm just trying to get through this without coughing my lung up. Thank you. I guess let's see. We've got, who do we have matched up here? And I think strength of schedule will have something to do with this. Oh, we got Eric and Brian battling for that last position. And then, we're not looking at that. Those are a couple tough matchups. If I was just looking at a roster, unfortunately, I'm sorry, Paul. I think you're going to be in last place. I'm gonna say, unfortunately, Paul, last place. That's my prediction. Paul finishes last, Eddie ninth. Prove me wrong. But unfortunately, those two teams, in my opinion, have been eliminated from. I just looked at. Oh man, I look ridiculous, but that's funny. A couple other things. I think those are two teams that are not going to make playoffs. Three teams that are going to make playoffs. Let's see here. I'm very unorganized, and I will straighten my stuff out this next week, but I'm not redoing that intro. A few teams that are going to make playoffs. Myself, if I don't make playoffs, there's a statistical chance I don't make playoffs, but it's highly unlikely. If I just need two of the three to lose this week, Eric, Nate, and Brian. I just need two of those teams to lose one time in the next 3 weeks, and then I'll make play for sure. I mean, I think I'm gonna make playoffs. If I don't make playoffs, I will go next time I'm in town for this next year's draft. I will go streaking down downtown Seattle. I'll fit in with the bums. I'll go shit on the sidewalk. I will fit in. I'll go streaking. I mean, it's just I've got the record. I've got the points. I'm going to make playoffs. It's just now I'm racing for trying to get that first week bye, and that's what I'm shooting for. And now I'm a little bit nervous. I mean, this last week was huge. It was very key for me to win to kind of really kind of solidify if I was going to get that first round bye. I mean, obviously I still can, but chances would have been so much better. Um, Austin would have shot to 6-5. I would have had a 3-game lead with 3 weeks left between third place, which I would have just had to win one of the next 3 to guarantee a first round bye. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Now, there's a few things that need to kind of fall into place. I mean, I just need to win out, obviously, to get that first round bye. But there's still a few. Like, I've got a little bit of cushion, but I'd rather not leave it up to someone else to decide whether I get a first round bye or not. I think that first round bye is huge. You pretty much have to win. You just have to win 2 games to win the championship. You have to win 1 game to make the championship. And you have to win 2 games to win the championship versus having to win 3. And it's hard to go on a 3-game winning streak. It's hard for your team to be 3 weeks hot. Like you have to. Like I said, I've said it before. There's a little bit of luck involved. I mean, you get some people that have won multiple championships, like Austin. So, like, obviously, yes, there's some luck, but there's also some skill and getting the right pieces at the right time. And that's why I'm a little frustrated. Like, I have not paid as much attention. I noticed, I don't know if there's a trade I missed. I hope maybe someone can fill me in. But I know Dre Campbell had Tyron Tracy, and I like that guy. I think he's a really good running back. Um, I noticed he had him on his team. I believe that from what I can remember, he had him on his team, but now he's on Nate's team, which good pickup or trade. I don't know what happened, but that's a good added piece to a team that needed a running back. I don't know when that happened, um, but that still doesn't fully. Unfortunately, it doesn't fully solve your running back crisis. Um, Although Austin Eckler has been solid the last 3 weeks, and now a Dallas matchup, um, that's a rough. If you make it to playoffs and make it past the first round, that's a tough schedule. But this is someone you can rely on for 2 of the next 3 weeks before playoffs. I think definitely this next week against Dallas. I mean, I've got Brian Robinson, who's the other half, and I'm so excited to start him versus Dallas. Travis Etienne has been a complete bust this year. But I mean, he's really not a terrible. I mean, he's not a terrible option. He's just not a good one. But Tyron Tracy, although I do really like him, now I'm hesitant because it really does seem like the Giants are trying to tank this year. They completely skipped Drew Lock, and they're just like, we're going Tommy DeVito. We're tanking. We want a good quarterback. Daniel Jones, get him out of here. So now I'm just kind of a little bit worried about that offense. As a Malik Neighbors owner, truther, fan, I'm a little worried. But this is definitely a team that can make playoffs, and there are some pieces here that are getting hot at the right time. Bo Nix getting hot. Kareem Hunt has been good, and I think he'll still be implemented even with Pacheco coming back. They're going to save Pacheco for the playoffs. So I wouldn't be too worried about him coming back. I think Kareem Hunt will still be an asset. And then George Kittle he's been quietly, I would say, having the best. He's been underrated as a tight end. He's been having clearly the best tight end year this year so far. He's been that Travis Kelce-esque, and no one's talking about it, which is interesting. I don't hear anybody. Maybe they are, but I don't hear it. So number 1 tight end, I would say right here. You've got Bo Nix who's hot, and then your wide receiver is super good, but you still that running back room is still a big question mark. And then on the opposite, I mean, you've got the inverse team of Nate's team is Dre's. No, not wrong, Dre. Freaking change your name, Dre Campbell. You've got, look at this freaking three-headed monster, Devon Achan, who, since having Tua back, has been a beast. Christian McCaffrey, although I think he's just warming up pretty much, will be a beast. And then Alvin Kamara, a beast. And then you look at your wide receivers, Mike Evans, hopefully he's coming back, but besides Mike Evans, there's not much really to brag about. And yeah, I know you've been riddled with injuries, and Amari Cooper, they can win without feeding him the ball. Like, Buffalo has been distributing the ball and winning, and that's going to be their formula. So Amari Cooper cannot be a relied fantasy asset, in my opinion. This is the complete inverse of Nate's team. You guys should have talked during trade discussions and traded a few. You trade one of your three, probably not Christian McCaffrey, but Kamara for Jaden Reed. Both of you get a really good piece of what you need. I think that you two trading would have kind of been a win-win situation. And I was thinking about going over like who should be trading what, but I mean, there's really none of my business. You manage your team how you want, but there could have been some things that really worked out for each other. I went over who I think eliminated, and we have a tight race for number 6. I mean, it's pretty much anyone's game. Besides the 3 who I think have secured a spot. I mean, even Whitney and Austin, they've got a 2-game lead on the last playoff seed. And I mean, you just need 2 of these 3 to lose. These 2 either win 1 or win one of the next 3, and you're in a very good spot to make playoffs. Yeah, like, it's just, in my opinion, you got secured 1, 2, 3, secured playoff spot. It's just now a matter of seeding for those 3. And then you've got Drake Campbell and Mr. Organic over here who have a really good shot. Like, your team has to kind of crumble for you to miss playoffs. And at the same time, these guys, with their points, how they're kind of structured, these 2 or these 3 have to absolutely go berserk and go undefeated to kind of jump. So there's a combination. So I think there's a high likelihood. I think it's really down to these 3 kind of fighting for this last playoff spot. And Eric leads the points right now, but Nate's really not too far behind. And kudos to Eric for catching up in points. Eric had 2 weeks where he went around 50 points, and he's caught up and passed several people in points. He's 7th in points and pretty close to 6th. Hats off to you. Tip of the cap here for Eric, I think. You proved me wrong. Proved me wrong so far. Now we'll see if he can finish. It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. We'll see if there's some ice in those veins to see if he can kind of wrap it up and kind of finish out the season strong. Sorry, All right, sorry, work call. But yeah, I think there's just the last 3 weeks is determining seed ranks. Even Drake Campbell here, he's beating everybody in points. If Austin and Whitney lose one and he wins out, then he could even jump up to 1. If I only win 1 of the next 2, or if I go 1 and 2 in the next 3 weeks, which I did in the last 3 weeks, Drake, unless something really weird goes on, Drake Campbell's can be the number 1 seed. Even Mr. Organic, let's say Christian McCaffrey starts going off and Mr. Organic gets Mike Evans back, and then he finds a wide receiver. He finds a wide receiver 2 that's really solid. and his running backs go absolutely berserk, there's a chance for Mr. Organic to hit that number 1 seed. Or I mean, even at the very worst, like there's a chance definitely for him to hit the number 2 seed, which you get the first round bye. I mean, there's the only person I don't think, yeah, it's these three which I really don't think are going, like something catastrophic has to happen if one of these three gets a first round bye. It's just a fight for a playoff spot for these three, so it'll be kind of interesting. You've got Eric and Brian facing off this week, which that's going to be big kind of determination. Someone has to win and someone has to lose. Whoever loses, you've not completely, but you have almost shot your playoff chances. Which, I mean, kudos to Brian. Especially at the beginning of the year after like week 3, I'm like, okay, poor Brian. Like he's getting a pretty bad experience at fantasy football. But Brian, you're in it. You're doing it, Brian. You're doing it. I mean, Brian's in it to win it and has a chance to make playoffs. But this week is a huge determination of kind of where your team's going. So big matchup right there between those two. Who else is going against each other? I got this mouse that's just kind of all over the place. And then you've got Whitney, and this is the battle of, if Whitney wins, she's kind of making that statement on I want my first round bye. If Nate wins, that's a good push to the playoffs. Nate, this is a must win for Nate this week, because either way, one of these guys, someone's going to win. So you are, no matter what, Nate almost has to hope for Eric to lose, because then he beats Brian in points, and then he's 6-6, has a game up on Eric. So Nate's also kind of playing for that playoff spot. If Nate loses, and I mean, obviously one of these guys is going to win, and it gets really tough for the loser here and Nate. So we'll see how that kind of pans out. There's a lot of really interesting. There's so many different avenues on where things can go. I'm honestly a little bit nervous about this week because just record-wise, you've got Austin, who is going against Paul, which if you're looking at records and you're looking at performance, on paper, Austin should have a win. I mean, you can never guarantee. It's why we play the game. There's no guarantees, but there's a good chance there. He's not too far from me on points, 10 points behind. So I'm not only playing against Dre, but I'm also playing against Austin this week, I feel. Because if I lose, which Dre Campbell's team is looking pretty good, and there's a possibility, definitely a possibility, I could be losing my number 1 seed. And then Whitney wins, she's right up my butt. I think I'll still have her on points unless she scores 300 points. So I guess there's a possibility, but then I'm kind of at a situation where I need to win out, or else I'm losing my first round bye. And then it's just disaster at that point. I'm in shambles. We'll see. There's a lot of different avenues all over the board that can happen, and a lot of games still left to play. And we've got, who do we have? I was looking at someone's schedule. Someone has a nasty schedule coming up. Nate. See, now this is, I don't think Nate's making playoffs, and this is why, because his schedule's rough. You've got third place. If you're just looking record-wise, let's just look at records. I think everyone, there's always a possibility. I mean, look at Brian I'm going to throw you under the bus here, Brian. You had a team that did not look like it was going to win at all. And you're freaking in the playoff race right now. So every team is good in their own way, and every team has a chance to make playoffs. But if you're going off record, you got Nate going against third place, 7-4. Then you got Nate going against He is going against Brian, which middle of the pack, and the following week, then you're going against second place. So in the next 3 weeks, you're going against second and third place. That's going to be pretty hard. And like, you're almost, I mean, you don't even have a guarantee if you win out. I mean, Eric could win out, and then you not only need to win out, but then you would need Eric to also lose one game. So, I mean, chances are, I think, honestly, this has got the setup of Eric making the playoffs. On paper, you look at, he's going against middle of the pack here, then he's going against last place, Eddie there, and then he's going against me, who I'm in first, but he drops 2 to 3, Eric goes 7 to 7, and then chances are, and we don't know what's going to happen, but let's say chances, I mean, Nate goes against second and third. On paper, Nate should win or should lose 2 to 3, and that just solidifies Eric making playoffs. So I think that's what's going to happen, but we'll see. I was going to go over power rankings. I mean, I'll go over power rankings, but I'm not going to spend too much time. How much time have we got in here? Oh, 34 minutes. I'm not feeling the best, and my throat is super dry, and it's late, and I spent a lot of energy in that intro. So, I'm going to go over this really quick. Although he's number 4, I got Mr. Dre Campbell. He's number 1 in points. And he's got the team. Okay, this team just scored over 50 points, and they're up. I was watching at a buddy's house this weekend. It's like the first time I think I've watched football, like really watched football in the last 5 weeks, or even before the last podcast. But the freaking the Lions are up 35-6. They go down, score a touchdown. It's like, okay, maybe they're gonna pull their people. No, they're still flinging it. They're not running out the clock. They're still throwing. They're making a statement. The Lions just did not stop. And who has the most Lions? Mr. Dre Campbell himself. It's in the name. The guy just is relentless with his points. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4 of the number 1 offense. That is the team to beat, and they are the hottest. Not only that, he's got Joe Mixon, who's been an absolute beast, has been resurrected from the depths of the fantasy hell. Then he's got Derrick Henry, the ageless wonder, the guy that does not age, the guy that is an absolute beast, Mr. Yeti himself. He's got Derrick Henry, who only gets better when it gets, running backs get better when it's colder, because they are just running over that defense, and the defense is so cold, and they're not going to want to take those hits. Derrick Henry is going to get better I'm convinced he does get better historically, and I think he will still get better as this is why I'm nervous. I'm nervous about this next week. And he's got Cooper Kupp, who's also resurrected from the dead, and guy was injured. He's been battling injuries, but he's healthy. He's playing well. He's got Jaden Daniels, the rookie MVP, and then Brock Bowers, the tight end number 2 of the season. I don't know if that's right, but I would call him the tight end number 2 behind George Kittle, and then third place is not even close. This team is stacked. It's scary. It's stacked. And the last thing I want is for this team to have a first round bye. I want, in my opinion, Dre Campbell's making playoffs. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I'd put a bet on it. He's making playoffs. The only thing I want is for him to have to go through 3 games to win the championship. I'm hoping to be on the other side of his bracket. And if I am, perfect. And then if I am, I want him to have to win 3 games to win that championship, because this team is good. This team scares me. This team is the only team that really legit scares me. And And then I think my team is second. I've been pretty consistent with that, and I'm number one in points. I feel like it's that's not a bold prediction here. I've got the wide receiver 1 and the wide receiver 2. I really like Malik Neighbors. He does now make me nervous. I talked about it a little bit. He makes me nervous with Mr. Tommy DeVito, whatever the heck his name is. I think they're tanking. That scares me. But I really like Bucky Irving here. James Cook has been a touchdown machine. Super happy to get TJ Hawkinson. I think he's been a target machine. I'm hoping Xavier Worthy's going to kind of start picking it up. Rookie wide receivers kind of tend to pick it up in the second half of the season, and we're approaching that second. We're in the second half of the season, so that trade was merely upside, and also kind of it's hard to start 2 Bengals wide receivers. That would have helped me this last week, but it's really hard to do that, so that was another reason to trade him out. And then Ken Walker, I think he's got a nicer schedule coming up. Arizona twice, the Jets, who have not been good on defense, and then hopefully I can use them in Week 16. That's a tough matchup, but the idea is to get to the championship, so I'll worry about that then. I think my team doesn't really have weaknesses. I mean, I could definitely make it stronger, but I just don't see like a big weakness here. Number 3, the guy has the most projected points. 116. Always finds a way to win. He's just always finding a way to win. And he beat me this last week. That was rough. That's why I hate kickers. I hate kickers because they're so hard to predict. And then defense is also really hard. It's not really hard, but it's just hard to like grab someone. I feel like it's very match based, and so it's hard to get a good consistent defense on. Those 2 positions I hate, but that's part of the game. So, and maybe I just need a little bit of work on that. Austin is number 3. Nico Collins, easy wide receiver 1. Jalen Hurts, rushing touchdown machine. Juwan Jennings, that guy looks like the wide receiver 1. Saquon Barkley, 101 pick over Christian McCaffrey, even with a healthy Christian McCaffrey. I don't care. I'd take Saquon Barkley 101. J.K. Dobbins has been good, but I think he's kind of scared me this lot. Like, if I was the owner of him, he would kind of scare me. They put in the third string running back for the goal line touches. So you take away like 2 runs out of J.K. Dobbins, and he had a terrible night. He also got saved a little bit on this very last run. They should have kicked the field goal. That guy should have sat on the 1 yard, whatever. But J.K. Dobbins, not sure if he's going to be as good as he was in the beginning of the year. And Jonathan Taylor, he gets his touchdowns vultured, but he's still a really good running back. This is another team where I don't see weaknesses. Maybe Travis Kelce, his usage is not as good. Like I said, I think everyone's on the same page, saving that guy for playoffs. And then the bench has a lot of depth here and has a lot of really big potential. And this freaking guy is an absolute MVP this year. You're lucky if you get 10 points. This guy has multiple 20-point games. And I think either way, if you have Russell Wilson or Justin Fields there, they're going to struggle in the red zone, and this guy's just going to be kicking field goals for days. Kicker number 1 by far in the season, I would say. Him and Aubrey have been game changers. Number 3, I have Mr. Organic. I went over this. That running back room is just insane. You throw in Mike Evans and the number 1 QB. I would say the only weakness, Tucker Kraft has been an absolute beast. He put up a goose egg, but he's been an absolute beast other than that. The only weakness is wide receiver 2, and Darnell Mooney's been really good. That's with an injury. But they're really good options here. This is a kind of a scary team, and think I'm going against this team next week. And I'm not nervous, but I'm not the most confident, especially when staring down that roster. Number 5 is Whitney. Now, Whitney, yes, is in third place, but I think points against, if I'm not mistaken, points against Whitney's like last. Yeah, Whitney's been a little bit lucky with some matchups. Either way, winning 6 straight, that's the most out of the season. Very impressive, but I just can't mark Whitney up too high because I think quarterback could definitely be better, in my opinion. Zay Flowers, although I think he's a really good talent, not consistent enough in my opinion. I'm not the biggest fan. I personally hope seems like a nice guy, but fantasy football doesn't seem as consistent. Jerry Jeudy, I think, is going to have up and down games. Trey McBride has really not put up the touchdowns that people were hoping. Pacheco, Bijan's on the bye, and so Bijan would be right there. It's a really good team with a lot of really good weapons, and the team's getting hot at the right time. But can you keep it up to win like 11 straight to get to that championship? I don't know. And number 6, Mr. Sloppy Poppy. Maybe I've been a little disrespectful to this team. I think this changed while we were looking at this. We got Anthony Richardson in the lineup. Let's go. Washington's cooled down a little bit. Chicago has not been consistent. Rashad White is competing with Bucky Irving. It's a good team, and obviously been plugging in the right pieces at the right time. Joe Burrow, MVP season. Chase Brown really coming on. Garrett Wilson has actually been a good, I think he's wide receiver. He's in the top 5, I believe, before this week. I don't know what he is after this week or before these 2 weeks. He was top 5 in the league in terms of fantasy for wide receivers. I'm not sure. He's cooled down, but you get a couple good matchups. This could be a scary team come playoffs. Nate, I kind of talked about this team already. It's been the same story every single week. I mean, you got Tyron Tracy, nice, but Etienne has fallen off even more. Okay, I gotta get to the team before I start talking shit about it. But just wide running back woes. DK Metcalf. The guy does not go. If as a Seahawks fan, it's frustrating. The guy, he always waits for the ball to come. He's got strong hands. He's a strong. That is a man. That is a man right there. And he's freaking strong and lengthy. Go out and grab the ball. That's what I don't understand about him. He could be so much better of a wide receiver, but I don't trust in the Seahawks. I don't trust them to be consistent. Tyreek Hill, that team, Miami has not. Defenses have figured them out in a way to avoid that long ball. And Tyreek Hill has crazy speed, but he's not been the same player this year that he was last year. And it's always so scary. Watching Tua, it's just scary. The guy, it's his decision. And it's fully his decision to do what he wants. He's a grown-ass man. But as a viewer, it is scary to watch that guy play because it's just any play. It's like, is this guy going to die? Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. But number 1, tight end. I like the running back, but is that team tanking? There's some question marks. Good team, definitely can make playoffs, can make a push, but I don't see making a big push. Brian, Brain. I could say something. I don't know if I should. I don't know if it's gonna be mean, but you know what? Fuck it. Brian, let's be honest. He had a little bit of help, which is completely okay. No, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go with that. Nope. Maybe I'll say in the group chat if you guys remind me. I don't want to put it out there in public. I'm not gonna say that. Brian, good team, but CD lost DK, Cortland Sutton. It's hard for him to be consistent one with a rookie. You've got Josh Allen on the bye, been really good, but not like he's not on Lamar's level, which I think people would expect him to be. Running back room kind of panned out pretty well, which I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised. I was wrong. I didn't think it was going to pan out for this long, but there's just some clear holes. And then I'm not gonna dog on the last two teams. I've got Paul at 9, Eddie at 10. Although I think Paul's gonna end up being the last place team. But I think Eddie's 1 year early. And Paul, I think he just relied on San Francisco a little too much. And how about them Seahawks, huh? How about them Seahawks? Let's go. And then yeah, you battled through injuries. It's just kind of an unfortunate thing. There's a good team here. It's just injuries really kind of screwed you. Aaron Jones battling through an injury and kind of giving you that false hope, I think, hurt as well. And then relying on, there was just a few things. I mean, it's statistically not over. Keep trying. Keep going for it. Please prove me wrong. But season's over for Paul and Eddie, in my opinion. We'll see. We've got a lot of really interesting things going on this week. And after this week, I think we're really going to kind of see the shape of who's in, who's out, and then it becomes then a battle of who can get that first round bye. And we'll see after this week. Hope you guys enjoyed. Glad to be back. I'll be in a much better position moving forward in terms of podcast. Got a really dry throat, so that doesn't help. I'm gonna try to keep on making it fun. I don't have any trips planned. Thankfully, I'm a homebody. I like staying home, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I'll start doing some more podcasts more consistently. I'm gonna try to do, like I said, I'm gonna try to do some more intros. Got any ideas? Throw them at me. I'm open to anything. I'm open to making myself look a little silly. I mean, Eric, I've got a request from you. I will admit I was wrong. I was wrong on your team. A little bit better than I thought. And all I ask in return, take a screenshot of this. I mean, this is nicer than the pink outfit, right? I don't know. Just change the damn. I keep asking, Eric, change the profile picture. Dre, change your name to Dre Campbell. And Austin, wait till next year to win a championship, or try to. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed. Adios.